America is better now or America was better then?
So it was a lot more stable. There was a lot more stability, and it was a better country back when I grew up.
I disagree. America is better now.
I work to pay into Social Security, and there's no reason why your generation shouldn't have the same thing. But they want to get rid of that.
Because I will see on social media all the time, the baby boomers screwed us all up. They are kind of correct. As a black man, a lot of the people who hated me the most in my life were other black people. I can have the choice to be better. I want to be better. I want to move up. Really, in my generation is the amount of arrogance and ignorance that we have.
You're most scared of when it comes to artificial intelligence?
I can tell that it is very addicting. And now we live in a world where everything happens.
Welcome to Madhouse Conversations. My name is Genesis Lawanson and I am your host. Today we bring two different generations together. Not to argue, not to convince, but to understand how two different paths can shape how we see the world. I will be asking some questions and I'll let the conversation breathe. If you get any value from this conversation, please give us a like, subscribe, and let us know what you think in the comment section. All right, let's get into it. Let the guest introduce himself. We're going to start with our baby boomer.
Yeah, hey everyone, I'm Don Siegel. I just turned 70 9 days ago. Good to be here.
Awesome.
Thanks for inviting me.
All right. And our next guest is Gen Z. Here we go.
Hello, everybody. My name is Sadrian Anderson. I turned 25 about 2 months ago. So happy to be here. Very happy to be here.
Okay. Let's get straight into it. Starting with our baby boomer. When you were around 25, how did you picture adulthood looking for you?
Well, 25 was a big transitional time for me. I wasn't thinking about adulthood much at all at that time. Just to explain a little more, I was a heavy drinker. I got married when I was 21, and my wife and I partied for years. Okay. She quit drinking when we were around 24. And by 25, I joined her. I mean, she convinced me to quit drinking as well. And the sobriety helped me to really change my life. I lost 120 pounds, started to really think about the kinds of things that you're asking about. So I was a late bloomer, and to move it a few years forward, I really wasn't expecting much in my life prior to that. But after making some positive changes in my life, I wanted to succeed. I had come from a wealthy family. My parents had done very well. I was hoping to, have a nice home, children, and I was finally able to start working towards those things. And eventually had some good fortune, worked my way into a position as a service administrator, a business machine center in Albuquerque. So things started to change from there, and I was able to really realize my ideals of what adulthood should be. When I was 25, life was pretty meaningless and shitty for me, frankly. So things really changed after that. And life is strange, I would just say to young people, hang in there and be true to yourself and be the best you can be. And life can really change positively for you. So I would have that advice.
Awesome. Well, of course, Gen Z just turned 26?
25.
25. Okay, so, I wouldn't say, looking back now, that's your 25th years old birthday because you just turned 25.
Yeah.
So what would you say to yourself is, now that you're 25, how do you see life?
So I guess to start on a personal note, for me, honestly, being 25 now and kind of viewing my life as it is, it's kind of funny because it's not the way I expected it to be when I was going to turn 25. I thought that by the time I turned this age, I would have had a lot more things. Like I thought by this time I probably would have had a house, I probably would have had a family, probably would have had like kids and stuff like that. But considering how so much has happened in the world and how the world has definitely changed from your generation, and all that, it is certainly not the way I thought it was going to, like I expected to be. With that said, though, it's so funny that you said that you feel like when you were 25, you're a late bloomer, because I feel like I'm a late bloomer. considering how many things I thought was going to happen and just never
Right.
did. But with that said, though, now that I'm at this age and I'm currently, on the fast track to being like, oh, well, in about 5 years, I'm gonna be 30. I'm like, okay, let's get this ball rolling for me to actually get my life moving. So on one hand, not the way I expected to be, but on the other hand, it's actually going to be or turning out to be much better than I expected.
All right. So you spoke about not getting to your goals and you feel like, you're a late bloomer as well. Do you feel like you're under pressure to perform?
Yes, I feel absolutely that there is a lot of pressure put on me and a lot of people of my generation to perform, especially considering all the things that we were taught growing up. Like, I will say this, for example, not specifically to harp on my mom. Mom, if you're hearing this, this is not against you at all. But I will say, to use her as an example, because I have also heard this from a lot of my other friends with their parents and stuff going on, like, oh, by the time you turn 18, you have to go to college. By the time, I want you moved out the house, you're in your own apartment, blah, 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 whatever, whatnot. And so there was a lot of that pressure put on to be like, oh, okay, well, by the time I turn 18, I better have my life figured out for what my next steps are. Because if not, a lot of, I wouldn't say the older generation, but I would say society at large had this idea of if you didn't have things figured out after you were 18, there would kind of be like this catastrophizing. There would be like that crash and burn type of, oh, you don't know what you're going to be. You're not going to make it. Like, oh, you're not going to college. What are you going to do? What's your next plans? And so I would say absolutely yes, there's a lot of pressure. A lot of pressure.
So, Don, did you feel the same pressure when you were 25?
Yeah, but it was a lot different. I mean, you guys have got social media, and a lot of that pressure is coming from social media because you're seeing all these people who are like so successful when they're 17, 18 years old.
Oh, yeah.
And you're comparing yourselves to them, and it's crazy. We didn't have shit. We didn't have, we didn't have the internet. We didn't have phones. We didn't have anything in the 60s, 70s, 80s. And, you get on social media and you've got all that pressure coming from there. In addition to, the older generation still has some old values, go to college, make money, have a family, get a house. And those things just aren't as achievable as they were in my generation. I know you guys have got a lot of strikes against you. You don't have the ability to go to college like we do because tuition is out of sight. The job opportunities are not there like they used to be. And a lot of that is because of what's happening with this country, with the administration, with the direction things are going in. It's not really your generation's fault. Honestly, I think it's because of what's happening with this country. And I think that could be turned around if they, if it wasn't turning into an oligarchy and, just making the billionaires rich, trying to put money back into education, housing, things that people that your generation need. So I think that's part of the issue and part of where the pressure is coming from. And our government really not taking the right steps to put these things in place to help your generation. We had more of that when I was growing up. Yeah, there was pressure from the old people to, get a job and, make a lot of money and, buy a house and do all those things. But there's the added pressure of social media that you guys have got and the fact that our government is veering away from helping the masses to achieve the American dream.
Yeah.
Honestly, I hope that wasn't too heavy.
No, it wasn't at all. It wasn't at all. I also wanted to say that, would you say education is better now or better then?
Do you want to take this one or you want me to take this one?
Go ahead.
I mean, I could leave it to you, but I was like, my quick thoughts on it is in terms of opportunities for education. Oh yeah, we definitely have it much better now. However, in terms of the execution of that education, no, it is so much harder, especially with, mind you, this is just kind of off the top of my head, so I could be completely wrong here, but I do remember seeing a lot of news stories saying like Gen Alpha, the generation after mine, coming up, aren't really listening as much to their teachers anymore. A lot of teachers are like, I'm quitting because Gen Alpha are reading at, they're like, I think 9th grade or 10th grade, and they're reading at a 4th grade level. In fact,
Right.
going back to social media and things like that, people are now so used to not like sitting down and looking at something for like 15 minutes. They're not like, oh, I need it in 15 seconds. If I don't have it in 15 seconds, my attention span is gone.
Right.
You need to keep me captivated
Right.
for 15 seconds. And if you can't do that, I'm out.
They want
Mm.
school to be like TikTok.
Yes.
Oh my
Yeah.
goodness.
Yes, absolutely.
that's
It
right.
is
That's right.
terrible.
We need to like turn schools into TikTok for them. You know, it's crazy. I mean, that's what the internet and social media has done to people.
Right.
And it's destroying education. It's destroying our thought processes. I mean, it's just, I mean, the world is not changing for the good because of that. And we need to get back to basics. Education was great in my era. I mean, we didn't have all these reading issues, all these problems. Higher education was better. It was more obtainable. So, you know, I'm seeing a lot of changes in that respect that, you know, just really aren't cool. Okay.
So is there a way forward? Is there a better, do you see a better America for this new generation? Do you think there's a remedy? Do you think
Yeah.
there's something that could happen, or there's a trajectory that this, I don't know, the government can go towards that would help this new generation get better education, focus more, read on or above grade level?
Yeah, I think there's a lot that our government could do. I think our Department of Education has been decimated, as you may or may not know. Hopefully, you know, hopefully the administration will change and we'll get someone in there who is taking the right steps to improve education. I think it can turn around. I think everything can turn around, but I think we're going to go through a rough time for a while. I think a lot has been destroyed. There's going to have to be a lot of rebuilding. And if we get the right people in there, I think it can be done. But I think things are going to get tougher before they get better in all these respects. And I hate to be, you know, Debbie Downer about it, but,
right.
you know, I honestly think you're going to see things get a lot worse before they get better. But no, I think they can change. You know, I really do. I really have a strong faith in this country. I think we're already starting to see the tide turn. And hopefully it will, with the right people in there, making the right changes and not destroying everything.
Right. Like I gotta say, I truly believe that America is the greatest country in the world.
I still do.
This is my, this is what I believe. Now, anybody watching can think otherwise, but I believe America is the greatest country in the world. Okay.
And I
So,
just want to say, I absolutely agree with both of that, by the way, because
Right.
hopefully I can kind of
right. Of
respond
course.
to. I will say that you are absolutely correct in terms of things probably are going to have to get worse before they get better. Because real quick to kind of start this, I guess, not even tirade, but rambling I'm about to go on, is there is a, I don't know if it's a catchphrase. I don't think it's a catchphrase, but it's like old age wisdom, where it's like, it goes like this: strong men create good times. Good times create weak men. Weak men create hard times, and then hard times create strong men. I don't know exactly what point we are in that type of, again, I can't really remember what the actual term for that type of phrase is, but I do know that there is a lot of shift going on in terms of what can be done and what needs to be done. I will say one of the things that our generation, or at least my generation, is definitely going to have to learn in order to make things better is to kind of take away a lot of our cynicism. Mind you, that's something we'll have to work through, because you are correct. Previously, you had said it's not really our fault with a lot of things that's going on in the world. However, I have also stated it with my friends the other night when we were kind of talking about these things. I was like, the thing is, there are choices you have to make. And if you want things to be better, like, sure, you can say that life is unfair. And yes, it certainly is. But there is a way that if you actually apply yourself just a little bit, there's an increased chance where you can have some type of luck or some type of benefit to your life.
Okay, I said that, it's not your fault. But one thing is your generation's fault, and that's complacency. And I hate to put you on the spot, but
I don't know, that's fine.
Before we met, you were saying, "Oh, I don't really care about politics, blah, blah, blah." That's a problem. If you care about education, which you do, if you care about buying a home, which you do, if you care about, making it in this world, You fucking need to care about politics.
Hmm.
Okay? Your generation does. And I can see that they don't. They don't give a shit about politics. They're so embroiled in, just, TikTok and, you know, being famous, getting most likes and social media that they can get. You guys need to give a shit. I mean, if you want things to change, that's where it all comes from.
Hmm.
I would say that's true, but to an extent, like, sure, you're correct. Like, some of us are complacency. And yes, mind you, my opinion doesn't represent the whole of my generation, because there are definitely a few of us who really, really care for politics.
There are.
My thing
There are
with
some really good people who are in your generation. Yeah, I watch them.
my issue with politics, though, which hopefully we don't kind of stay on this topic too long, but my issue with politics is that I've seen so much of what it's done in tearing people apart, and that's why I stay away from it. It's not that I don't care about education or I don't care about infrastructure or economy or, all that type of things. It's actually, I do a whole lot. My issue is that when I imagine politics like this. It's like you're a guest about to walk in the house. And the moment you walk in the house, you're coming in with a plan. You're like, okay, this is what I want to do, blah, blah, whatever, whatnot. And then you walk in and immediately you just see the couple fighting. And every single time you try to get a word in, they do not listen. They just continue to fight. And the fight keeps escalating to the point where now it's getting physical. Both are throwing punches at each other. And every time you're like, guys, wait, no. One of them starts throwing a punch at you and you're like, whoa, okay, I didn't sign up for this. I'm leaving.
Okay.
Right?
All right. So this isn't normal, right?
Yeah, it's not.
Right. Well, this isn't how it used to be.
Mm-hmm.
See, the Democrats and Republicans, they used to cooperate for the good of the country. Yeah, they had their differences and there were problems and they fought. But when it came down to the good of the country, they weren't influenced by all this crazy conspiracy theory shit. They weren't slinging shit at each other in mud. It's really changed. This is not normal. And we need to get back to normalcy in this country. Okay? So I understand where you're coming from, but that's what's got to change. And you change that by getting the right people in. And there are people in, who the people running for Congress right now, people currently in Congress who understand how it should be, who understand how we need to cooperate for the good of the American people in general.
I agree.
We need to compromise. And both sides, well, one side particularly is not willing to compromise. So that's part of the issue. And yeah, we can get off politics if you want, but my feeling is that we're a lot of, young people's problems to be able to excel in this country are coming from, are the political issues. But that's just me.
Listening to you, I could tell that you are definitely submerged in politics. You really are involved with it because I guess, obviously you are 70 years old. You have
Right.
more time to sort of kind of absorb all that stuff.
Well, I'm scared shitless about what's happening in this country right now.
Why?
Well, because we are living in an authoritarian Fourth Reich racist regime. I mean, they're murdering people in the streets. They're, they've got ICE, taking over our cities. They're talking about having national elections where the federal government takes over and they have ICE agents patrolling voting booths. They just raided the voting rolls, the ballots in Fulton County. I mean, this is authoritarianism in places like Russia and, it's not this country. So yeah, I'm embroiled because if we don't change it, we're in big trouble. We are in big, big trouble. And, you're looking at me like, boy, like I'm coming from, some alien planet saying this shit, but that's part of the problem, is my generation realizes and sees what's happening. This is Fourth Reich stuff. And I really feel like you guys need to take it more seriously.
Listening to him talk about that, being 25 years old, I'm sure you're thinking to yourself, I don't care about that.
So here's the funny thing about that. And this is where I'm going to start by saying my my opinion. My opinion, my side, whatever, whatnot, does not reflect the whole of my generation. This is my own opinion, and therefore I am going to speak it from my own heart. The reason why I hate politics is because, and not to harp on you or anything, it's that type of talk right there where it becomes, it's an us versus them. One side is definitely more evil than the other. You say far right authoritarianism, they're killing people in the streets, all that other stuff. And it's like, I hear that. I see that from that side. At the same time, I take that scale and then I weigh it against the other side. And it's like, oh, mind you, again, completely in the middle. So I look at the good and bad for both. And so on the good and bad for the Democrats or the left or whatever you want to put it, their side, I see for years, using my race as an example now, for years they've been saying, oh, black people, we're, we're going to give you all these benefits and we're going to help you guys out and we're going to make sure y'all get up. And for what, like, I remember when I was growing up, 20 years, when Barack Obama became president, everyone was saying, oh, America is now less racist now. We finally have a black man as president. Everything's good. Everything's golden,
Yeah.
blah, blah, blah. We did that. The moment he left office, it then switched to, oh, America is racist again. And I was completely blown away because I was like, wait a minute. I thought we hit the goal. That was number one. Number two, after that was a couple years past, that rhetoric started growing slowly. And then it was the BLM. I remember 2020 with the BLM, the protests and the riots when George Floyd died. I remember when I seen that, I was angry. I was angry that they killed that man,
Yeah.
get on his neck. That was very sad. And then I remember the escalations after that. It was, okay, George Floyd died. We're going to Derek Chauvin's home. We're going to protest him. I was like, that makes sense. The man stepped on a dude or kneeled on his neck.
Mm-hmm.
Protest the guy. That makes sense. Then they went to the police station. It was here where I was like, I don't know if I necessarily agree with that because sure, you could get on the police force, but it's not like every individual in that police force had something to do with George Floyd's death. I was like, okay, but hey, you protest that, you're protesting the system. I can get behind that a little bit. Then it was, and I have a pretty decent memory. It was that night, the same night George Floyd died. People went out because it happened in Minneapolis, correct? Yeah, it was Minneapolis.
Mhm.
People went out in the streets and they started burning and looting their own homes and their own community. And I said, no, absolutely not. It is not a point where because you are so angry that you go out and you put innocents in harm's way just because of your anger. And it was at this point where I looked at the right, the Republican right, I looked at the Democratic left, I looked at both of them and I was like, oh, no, 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 no. You guys aren't different from each other. You both are the exact same. It is a horseshoe. And we're at this point, I then started to realize the only way things are going to get better is by understanding that there is no such thing as one side is better than the other. In fact, another prime example is we could talk about what's currently happening in the news, not ICE and immigration, but like the files, that scary thing that's going on.
Mhm.
And if anyone does, I'm pretty sure everyone knows the files, but if you don't know, let's just say one man was having a little too much fun on an island.
Uh-oh.
But that's all I'm going to say. Don't want to get this shut down. But I bring that up because a lot of people are using it from both sides as, hey, your guy was on the files. That means your side is bad. Oh, your guy was on the files. That means your side is bad. Whatever. When I was like, are you guys seriously mudslinging at each other that both of your guys is on when it like both of your guys's was on the files? That doesn't mean one side is better than the other. That literally means you're both bad. You do understand that, right? At the same time, none of y'all are talking about the fact that it's not even a political, I think, yeah, because it's supposed to be like some culture war. That's what a lot of people are talking about. Oh, it's a culture war. It's whatever. It's not a political or culture war. It's the fact that it is literally a class war. You said it beforehand, and I agree with you totally. You said the billionaires are up there protecting, and you're
Mhm.
absolutely correct about that. They are protecting themselves, and they're letting all of us deal with their BS to have us fight each other over, I can't believe you believe this about X. I can't believe you believe this about like, oh, this is who you were supporting? Blocked, unfriended. I'm not listening because that was something that happened years ago, and I couldn't believe that. People blocking and unfriending their family and friends just because they had a different political opinion. I'm like, are you kidding me? That's the other thing. See, now I've started. Okay. That's the other thing too. And I'm going to look at the camera for this. How are you trusting people just because they have the same opinion than you over people who have loved and taken care of you for years? Mind you, some of the people who have the same political opinions than you will stab you in the back and have stabbed you in the back. I know this because as a black man, a lot of the people who hated me the most in my life were other black people. These are the same people who are like, oh, I'm your brother and your sister, or we got to stick together, whatever, whatnot. And I was like, okay, cool. Then mind you, I don't know if you guys kind of noticed the way I talked because I don't talk like, hey, blood, what's going on, dog? Shizzy Nizzy, like, hey, come on, let's go to the crib. I want to
Right.
smoke a little bit of weed, whatever, whatnot. I don't talk like that. People are like, oh, you talk really proper. You talk white. Whoa, I thought I was my, ancestors' dream. I thought the entire point of growing up and changing and adapting was that we were supposed to be better. I'm supposed to be educated. I'm supposed to be not necessarily, morph into like an American or whatever, whatnot, but just be like, hey, I can have the choice to be better. I want to be better. I want to move up. I want to make sure everyone makes it. And so I say all of this.
But you are American, though.
And I am American. Yeah, I am American. And I'm proud to be an American. I love being an American. This country really is, to me, I still believe it. I still have that kind of patriotism, that not nationalism per se, but just, the idea of, hey, I love the home that I was born in. I want to protect it. I want to take care of it. And so all that to say, it's not for me, again, me personally, it's not that I've just forgotten politics or it's like I don't really want anything to do with it, but it's like I'm trying to take the time to think. I'm like, okay, what is really the best way to make sure we take this country together or put this country back together? What is the best way to do it? Because as far as I'm concerned, every person who's tried to give an answer from both political sides have just been like, you don't agree with me, you're the enemy. And it's like, that's what I hate. So that's me though. If you have a different opinion, then you're welcome to. You're absolutely welcome to it. And that's the one thing about a country that I love. You can have a different opinion and you don't die for it. I know other countries, I don't know any off the top of my head. Which
Be
again,
careful protesting, though.
yeah,
You may
do have to
you
be
may
careful
die for it.
yeah. Which that is something that definitely can be said, that it's like, there shouldn't be that much animosity with like protesting and stuff like that. But
Yeah.
it is what it is as far as I'm aware, concerned. So
This is a beautiful thing to see two different generations sitting together, talking this, having this conversation about politics, which normally you wouldn't actually have this conversation with your friends.
I mean, here's the funny thing about me. I tell okay. I'll say it like this. I'm not afraid to talk politics with my friends, but I will say I tell my friends all the time my exact opinion, and I tell them the honest truth about what I believe. Because for me, I think the best way of going about having conversations with people is telling them what you honestly believe and what the truth is. Because if you genuinely care for people and you have respect for people, the thing you tell them is the truth. You tell them, hey, I don't necessarily agree with your lifestyle, but I still love you regardless. Hey, I might necessarily agree with your political opinion, but I will still love you. Because at the end of the day, this is me talking. You're still a human being to me. Whether you believe like you're like an animal or like, I can use that for example. I have a friend who's a furry. If anyone knows what that is, anyone out there who knows what that is, I have a friend who is a furry. And I told him straight up, I was like, I don't like the fact that you're a furry. I just told him that straight up. I was like, I don't really agree with your lifestyle. And I looked him in the eyes. This was years ago. I told him, but you are still my friend through and through. I still love you, dog. And to this day, this friend is one of my closest friends. We go to the gym together. We hang out and eat lunch together. Like, he has helped me through so many things, and I have helped him through so many things. Even though him being a furry was like a big part of it. He's like, and to this day, he tells me all the time, say, I'm so glad I met you because you are one of the people who helped me like become a much better person than I am right now. And I'm like, you're just saying this? Like, no, I'm telling you genuinely, you are one of the best people I've met. And I'm like, dang, bro, that actually means a lot. But yeah.
Do you want to say anything to that?
Well, obviously, I don't have the black experience. However,
We could take you to the cookout if you want.
okay, all right. but I am appalled at the racism of what's going on right now. I mean, they're not going after criminals, ICE, in these cities. They're going after black and brown people and anyone with an accent and et cetera, et cetera. I won't get too much into that. And I don't know if you all saw what Trump posted last night on Truth Social, but I was so shocked this morning, my jaw just about hit the floor as far as racism goes. You may want to check that out. It's probably all over the news now about Obama and Michelle. So y'all ought to go take a look at that. However, on top of that, there's also, the level of corruption. You mentioned the Epstein files. I mean, so much of what was going on with Epstein was enriching themselves. He was tied to Russia.
Mm-hmm.
There was a lot of money laundering that he was doing for Putin and that others were involved with. Trump, I don't know if you know this, in the 80s visited Putin and was talking to him about building Trump Tower and all kinds of stuff, and came back and took out a full-page article in the New York Times bashing NATO. So from that time on, he's pretty much been a Russian agent. I mean, it's not a conspiracy theory. It's just kind of a joke, but maybe not a joke. So there's a lot of corruption going on. In addition to, he's suing our government for $10 billion because of a data leak, which leaked his tax return like 10, 15 years ago. Trump is. And yet 440 people's tax returns were leaked at the same time. So should they all sue too for $10 billion, a class action suit? We'd have to pay out $400 trillion out of our treasury to pay everyone for this. I mean, the insanity that's going on right now. I mean, we're basically, a piggy bank for corruption, this country right now. So, there's so much going on that needs to change. And it all comes to changing our politics, really. I go back to that all the time, but that's where it is for me. Sorry. I hate to harp on it, but I do think a lot could change if a lot of this corruption and problems within our government would change and could make your life better.
I will say quickly, no, I definitely get that. I definitely get that. It's especially for our generation, because I will say the one thing that has trickled down, wick wick nudge nudge, is the corruption of things. I firmly believe, though, that not that there's nothing that can be done about the corruption. It's just you know what? I'll say this. I have a strong belief that once Trump is out of office, we'll finally start getting like new, younger, probably a little bit more responsible people into, at least that we can vote for. Because I want to say from after Obama, not actually, it might even be a little bit into the Obama presidency, but like I want to say 2012 to what year is it again? 2026?
Right.
Yeah, just that entire era of politics was whack. I'm gonna say right now, it was whack.
I agree.
Because there was just so much mudslinging of, again, like, oh, this person did this person did that, this corruption that, and again, I'm not gonna say, I think you do have the right idea, I will say, of keeping it on the forefront of everyone's mind. My one thing is just that unless something can be done, and what I mean by that is if everyone from both sides come together and be like, maybe instead of fighting each other, we'd be like, you see the people in their ivory tower, they think they can just throw mud at us. Let's go dirty up their ivory tower. You wanna dirty up their ivory tower? Unless we both sides do that together, that is the one way we can finally start getting things to move again. And then I will say, because I've talked to a lot of people from my generations, we have a lot of pretty good ideas. We have a lot of really good ideas coming up. And so I think in about the next 10 years, things are definitely going to start changing for the better. I will say. That's what I think. That's generally.
Amen.
Okay, so you're giving a timeline of 10 years.
I giving 10 years. I will say this because if y'all don't believe in yourselves, I believe in me. I got a plan. I got things that I'm cooking up right now. It's just step by step. Can't talk about it too much, but step by step. There's a goal and a dream that I have that I'm definitely excited for in 10 years.
You think you're gonna go into politics in 10 years?
I don't know if it's going to be politics per se, but I definitely see myself in the future as someone having enough power and influence to make a difference because it's something that I do want to do. I want to have enough power and influence to make a difference because I hate seeing the world as it is, where there's so many people who just don't believe in anything anymore. And again, I hate living in a pessimistic, nihilistic, cynical, sorry, type of world. I don't like living like that. I don't like that that's kind of the prevailing attitude and vibe that everyone has. Because it is pretty much seeped into our bloodstream, into our bones at this point. And I want to remind people that we can have fun again. I want to remind people that it's okay to be free and to live and feel things again. Because we never really got to this point. But I will say one of the things, I don't know if it's gonna necessarily be just my generation, but I will kind of harp on my generation a little bit about this, is that one of the things that's kind of been prevailing in my generation is the amount of arrogance and ignorance that we have. It is definitely something I've had to contend with talking to other people because most people who I talk to feel like they are owed something,
Yeah.
or they feel like, you know, I'm all big and bad. I can do what I want. You can't tell me what to do, whatever, whatnot. Not a lot of people listen to each other anymore. Not a lot of people actually, I would say, take the time to sit there and realize that the choices that other people make towards you matter. If someone comes up to you, I will say this, if someone comes up to you and says something as small as hello, just hey, that matters. That is actually very huge because they didn't have to take the time to do that. They could have just walked right on by you as if you didn't exist. They could have just said, "You don't matter to my life. I don't care about you." But the fact that they sit there and said, "I just want to say hi to you. I just want to say hey with a smile. Hope you have a good day." Like that matters a lot because I've known people, like I've done that, where I've been told, "Bro, if you didn't say hi to me, like just that simple smile and wave, I would have had a worse day." But the fact that you always come here and you just have the biggest smile on your face and you always waving, you're always making sure I'm doing it right. That matters so much to me, and I feel proud. I'm like, I feel happy. And it's like, it's where I have to say to kind of take all that back and rearrange it a little bit back to the politics thing. It's not that, you know, politics in of itself is, I'll say this, you don't have to make like a super big change right now. That's not how it is. That's not how it has to be. It is something where even like the tiniest little action matters so much. And so it's where I do say, like, I think 10 years because small things like that do add up and to the point where they stockpile. And so I give it 10 years.
Okay.
Yeah. The tiniest change will start with the midterms. So get out and vote. Or
You heard him.
Whip your
Vote,
ass.
everybody.
Vote.
Did you know about the midterms?
The midterms?
Yeah, did you know about it?
I knew that they were coming up, yes.
Okay. So are you gonna participate in that?
It's probably going to make you mad. But me personally, I am retracting and walking away from the midterms. Again,
don't bitch about what happens then with your life.
Hey, I am waiting until this entire thing after 4 years. Because again, it is a vicious fight. And as far as I'm aware, I like to choose my battles. I choose my battles. And I'm someone, me personally, I can deal with what comes, whether it's not my wishes or whether it's for my wishes. That's all I like to say. That's just me, though.
Do you want to reply to that or?
I don't have anything good to say about it.
It is what it is.
It is what it is. And, y'all, you're unhappy, but, don't come crying to me if things don't go your way.
Hey, I never said that I was unhappy.
Because the way I feel about them, you know what? If we lose the midterms, if things don't change, I may leave this country. And I've never considered it before, but I'm starting to think about it now. Because if things don't change this fall, I'm out of here. I'm already looking at Panama City or Merida, Mexico,
Mhm.
Panama City, Panama. I'm looking at places because I can't see anything going well if these people stay in control.
Well, because I have two questions to that. Well, one, when he did get into office, then why didn't you leave why didn't you leave then? And then two, what makes you believe that going to a different country will have any different, any better, I guess, standards than what we have here in America?
Well, there's a lot that's better about living in certain places. I mean, I wouldn't go anywhere, but there are other countries that have better health care, better lifestyle. Things are cheaper. I could live better on my income for a lot of reasons. There are a lot of expats and a lot of people leaving the country right now. So it's not that unusual. And, healthcare is much cheaper. Uh, the quality of life can be better. A lot of people who move away from the country have been much happier. And I would consider it and never would in the past. Yes, I love this country. But if things look like they're con- continuing to go the wrong way, I might consider it. I have been thinking about it for a while.
Okay. I know. I don't know. I always find that interesting because it's like, it's so weird to have people who've lived here the entire time be like, well, I want to leave. And then people who, again, with the whole immigration thing, there are millions of people coming into our country. And so it's always so weird to have, especially if you talk to legal immigrants and stuff like that, they're like, oh, America's the greatest in the world. And I'm so glad I left X country to come here. And then illegal immigrants will say the same thing. They're like, oh my God, this is way better from where I came from. And I'm like, it's why I legally came here because the place I came from
Right.
was so much worse.
Well, it depends on where they're coming from, too. I mean,
Sure.
where there are a lot of problems. But there are countries that are very stable,
Yeah.
which I'm looking at. So
So it's like, I don't know. I guess it's like everyone has their own, viewpoint on it, I guess. So
Well, you guys are looking at an immigrant. I was born in Nigeria. I got here about 9 years ago. Well, 8 years ago. So that's why I'm like listening to both of you guys, and I could tell that you are very interested in politics because, like I said, Don, you are 70 years old. You're a baby boomer. You obviously have bought a couple of houses, or you have some stash somewhere saved up all through your years that you've worked hard for. And he's just starting his life. He's
Right.
25. He really doesn't care about politics. He's maybe still having fun. And then maybe when it gets to maybe 35, it's like, okay, maybe I need to focus on who the hell is my congresswoman, because what I mean. Like when you were 25, you didn't really care about politics, did you?
no. I was where he is.
Right. So
Yeah, I was where he is. But none of the changes that, your generation are looking for can happen without taking an interest. So maybe that's why I'm pushing it as much as I am.
I mean, that's fair. I mean, granted, it's like, you're thinking about our future and it's like, what's going
Right.
to look like. This is going to sound really morbid, like what it's going to look like when you're gone, which I hope it's not too morbid.
I think he has 30 more years to go.
Yeah, we're playing.
My grandmother was 96. My mom was 92. I've got at least 25 years.
So you got good genes.
I've got longevity.
Like Trump would say,
My genes.
good genes.
Right.
But yeah, no, because I'm like, you said something, and I was gonna bring it back to the whole the stockpiles of money thing.
Him working for all these years,
Yeah.
stashed it out.
Because I'm like, I don't know if that's necessarily true, but we can take it to a generation thing. Like, you know what? I will say this because that is something I did want to say kind of at the start of this. Is it's funny that not you specifically, but in a general way, you're talking about how we gotta care about politics and the young generation and all stuff. Because I will say, my generation, I've talked to a couple people, and especially the people who I talking to the other night about these questions, whatever, whatnot. They have a lot of animosity for your generation. They have a lot of animosity for the boomers, for the baby boomers specifically. Gen X, kind of, but not too much. But I do know, especially millennials, definitely. But I don't know, because I will say this. It might just be a social media thing. Again, going back to that, social media definitely heightens that type of animosity. Because I will see on social media all the time how much millennials or Gen Z will talk about how much, the baby boomers screwed us all up, and this is why the world's this way, and this is why the economy is this way. Which in a way, to kind of give us that type of grace. They are kind of correct. But it's why I also say it's like you can't just put all your problems onto them. But I will say a lot of what your generation did has trickled down to the point where it's like the world is the way it is because it was kind of set up more so for you guys than it really was for us. So I do understand where you're coming from, where it's like, okay, you kind of have to get into politics if you want to make things better for your generation or whatever, whatnot.
Mhm.
So I'm like, I'll grant you that. I will grant you that. It's just, again, I just can't get into the whole, yeah, one side is completely more right than the other.
Well, I worked to pay into Social Security for 40 years
Mm-hmm.
and have a nice income from that. And there's no reason why your generation shouldn't have the same thing.
Oh yeah,
But they want to get rid of that. Okay.
yeah.
That's why I say, you really need to do things that are going to maintain the kinds of things that my generation have benefited from.
Mhm.
Those things can continue. And a lot of people want to see those things continue. So that's part of why you need to vote in the midterms. And
I mean, yeah. Again,
you really do.
we'll see. We'll see.
Think about it.
I will think about it. I'll say this. I'll think about it. But for the most
Make a
part,
change.
it's just I don't know, because it's funny to kind of see how the world is built up now to kind of cater to like the older generation, I would say, with a lot of things that happen. Because and then maybe this is just me talking, but I've never been more like a self-interest type of person, at least in terms of like selfishly everything has to be for me, like all the wealth has to be for me, whatever, whatnot. Because I will say, going back to like the billionaires who are like 60, 80-year-old guys, guys and gals, I shall say, it is crazy that greed, I would say greed more than anything is probably ruining this country, if I'm going to be
Yes.
real. It's greed more than anything.
Oh, yeah.
And so with that said, I can understand the concept of greed, but I can't understand it in like my own way, or at least in myself, because I can only think there is at a certain point I'll have enough and I'm satisfied. Like,
Yeah.
as long as I can get financially stable.
So, this is the both of you guys, right? What systems do you think work now? And also, do you think America is better now or America was better then? We're going to start with Don.
Let's see. Well, America was better then. We had better systems for education to help people with housing, and much more. And there was a lot more compromise than there is now. I think both sides were willing to compromise on things more and work together for the betterment of all. There were issues, there was some issues. There was some corruption, some problems, but it wasn't off the charts like it is now. So it was a lot more stable. There was a lot more stability, and it was a better country back when I grew up and was 25. Many moons ago.
Do you want to say something to that?
I actually do. It's funny because I'm thinking about it and I disagree. I think our America is better now, but I will say, so my examples for that is medicine, technology,
Yeah.
infrastructure in terms of integration with technology, because we do have a little some things like an infrastructure, but business wise, I will say America is much better now. The two things, however, that your generation had over ours, in which it was better than for America than it is now, politics was better, and I would say socially everything was better. Because here's the funny thing,
I agree.
that although technology did get better for us, and I will also say this, America is better now because we do have more opportunities, but it's going to get into the social media thing, is that while technology did get better and then we got social media, the issue with it was that it was sold on us that we were going to be far more connected now and thus be a greater community than we had ever previously before. Unfortunately, that didn't happen, right? And we kind of touched on it a little bit at the start of all of this, but when we were talking about social media, but the fact that we have Instagram influencers now who are telling people, oh, buy this product, we'll sell you this product. If you get this, you'll have that, whatever, whatnot. The fact that a lot of things that people do now is for attention and validation rather than because they genuinely just want to share something with people. Like there are a few creatives out there, don't get me wrong, but not to the extent of like for every 1 to 2 big actually like creative people out there, there's like 1,000 others who will piggyback off their success and be like, oh, well, I'm really just doing this for money, or I'm just doing this to sell you something, or blah, blah, whatever, whatnot. So, ooh, excuse me, I'm sorry. But I'll also say, again, with opportunities, because yes, people can be YouTubers, people can be streamers now, Instagram influencers. There's even though I don't necessarily agree with this one, like OnlyFans models and things like that. There's so many more opportunities for you to become something. But again, both politically and socially, that has gone down, right? And it sucks to see because one of the big things your generation had over mine is community. You guys actually had community.
Oh, yeah.
And we just don't see that a lot now. We don't see that a lot because, as I stated before, people are so very like arrogant and ignorant in my generation. And then the fact that I've heard so many people talk about, I'm an introvert now. I don't really like talking to people. Talking to people suck. People suck. And I'm like, I hate hearing that. I hate hearing people say that all the time, that people suck, because it's funny. I feel like I'm such like a unicorn in this generation because I'm one of the people who are like, what are you talking about? I love people. I love talking to people. I love just getting inside your brains. Like, even if we have a disagreement or like a difference in opinion, I just like hearing how you got to that thought. It's just so interesting to me. And so that is what I would say in terms of, oh, and then you did ask, well, I guess I did answer the systems failing.
Right.
Yeah. So,
Right. Well, this is what Madhouse does. We bring two people together who might not necessarily have the same mindset or the same ideologies, and they can sit down and have a conversation without being without animosity, if that's a better term for it. And okay, what do you think the older generation misunderstands about your generation?
So it's so funny you said it, because you said it earlier, actually. You said complacency. You said that my generation is very complacent where we are. And I would say, ironically enough, that's the one thing your generation misunderstands about ours, because I've heard so many times the older generation says that my generation is lazy, that we're unmotivated. And that's entirely untrue, because especially with people who have your political opinions, I see a lot of people of my generation out there actually protesting and doing all that stuff. However, one of the things I will grant your generation in terms of what my generation kind of has going on is that it's not that we're unmotivated or we're lazy, it's that we're heavily distracted. Again, going back to things like social media, again, going back to things, um, like, AI, that's another thing too. That's another thing distraction. It's like there's too much stuff going on, actually. That's the big issue. I'm not gonna say there was so little stuff happening, but in terms of news
Too
and the
much
way it
noise.
spread, yes,
Yeah.
we have so much noise going on. Because again, at the time we're having something going on here in like Michigan, Minneapolis, whatever, whatnot. We also have to worry about something happening on the other side of the world in the Middle East. Then I have to worry about something happening in Africa. Then I also have to worry about something happening in South America. It's like I have all this stuff. Then I have to worry about something going on in my home. And it's like, whoa, I'm supposed to care about all of this at the same time at once? That's too much to kind of care about all at the same time. Either you have to focus on one thing or you focus on none of it at all. And so it's not a thing of it's like we don't care or we just don't want to take care of those things or we don't want to put effort into those things. It's just at what point do you care so much about something?
And who do you think is creating all that noise? In Venezuela, in Russia, in the Ukraine, in Greenland. Who's doing all that?
If you're implying that it's one man who's doing it, I would say you're wrong. I would say you're correct that yes, that he
Are
is.
you serious?
I would say, okay, who's Israel, Palestine, Gaza, Ukraine and Russia. Sure, I'm like, that was an American thing. That was just a Trump thing. At the same time too, there was a genocide happening a couple years ago. The Uyghur Muslims in China. Remember them? Everyone forgot them. And that's still going on. It's like, again, there's so much stuff happening. My issue is, to be a great moral person, does not mean you have to care about everything. Sure, you can, but just because you're like, well, I care about this and I care about that, whatever, whatnot, that doesn't make you a grand moral person. That just makes you someone who's like, well, I just have my finger on the pulse of everything. In order to genuinely make a difference and care about something, this is my belief now. I'm not speaking for my generation. This is my belief. In order to make a difference and actually have something change, you choose one thing to care about and you focus on that. You cannot, and listen to me here, you can't save everyone. I know you want to, and I know you think you can. You cannot, because the only thing that's going to do is tear yourself apart, and then the person you're going to have to save is you. So that's just what I believe in terms of, all the noise and the thing that the older generation misunderstands about us. Because
Well,
we do
that's,
care. We do.
we need some stability. We need less noise. And we need someone who's going to focus on America and not creating all this
Mhm.
craziness everywhere in the world and within this country.
Yeah, I do.
And that's not what we have right now.
I agree.
Do you agree with that?
Yeah, I do. I definitely agree with that.
Okay. Enough said.
What is something you've heard today from the both of you that you would say you admire about the other person's generation? And what have you heard today that softened your thoughts about the other person's generation?
So it has to be something that he says that I admire, just like in general, generation that I admire.
So, have you heard anything today that he said or that he said that changed your perspective?
I would say I definitely admire your generation's like tenacity and like the idea that you guys are like, because I will say this, your generation definitely was strong men. Yes, because you're boomer. And so again, going back, I'm being so real. Going back to what I said before, strong men create good times. Your generation definitely was that strong men. Like, I would say, yeah, strong. You were definitely in the good times. You were strong men at creating the good times, and you were in the good times. I would definitely, yeah. And so I'll definitely say you guys, and at least for you, for sure, you definitely have that will to be like, come on, what are you doing? You gotta do it. You gotta, come on, you have to apply yourself. And I admire you for that. Totally. So, yeah.
What do you admire about his generation?
This guy is, he's just so forthright, so honest. He speaks so eloquently. I'm really impressed. We may not agree with everything, but we need more people from your generation like you who are really voicing their opinions so well and so eloquently. And I'm very impressed with this young man.
Mhm.
I really am. Very impressed. There's not much I agree with.
I mean, that's fine.
That's all right.
That's the point. That's the point.
But more power to you. I hope you have a lot of success in your life. And this has really been a pleasure. I've really enjoyed it.
Right. Okay, so enough of politics, all right? What role did technology play in your early years?
Me?
Yes.
Oh my gosh.
You said something about being a software
Yeah,
engineer.
it totally changed my life. I got very lucky. I started out here in Atlanta just selling MCI WorldCom long distance. And I did so well that somebody told someone else about me. I was their club MCI every quarter and won their Ovation Spotlight Award. I was one of their top sellers nationwide. And someone told a company about me, and I got drafted into this company where I was selling workforce management software. They trained me to do it, and from there, my career just bloomed from there. So technology did play a big part in my life. Really helped me to buy a home, help my family, put my daughter through college, the whole 9 yards. So yeah, technology for me has been, my entire life, really, financially, and has really laid the foundation for me to be comfortable in my old age. I'm not rich. I'd like to be able to travel more, but I am comfortable.
How about yourself? You spoke about working at Amazon. How has technology affected you with your work?
Well, I wouldn't know if Amazon specifically, in a technological sense, has been a part of my early life. But I will say, like, growing up, I grew up with things like the iPhone coming out. And I grew up with things like, iPods and PlayStations and Nintendo DSs and Wii's and all that stuff. And so I would say from a very early age, technology was heavily integrated in my life. To the point, I would also say that for a lot of things, at least in which, not that I've learned per se, but in terms of developing me as a character, it was through technology. Because I wouldn't say I was like a very lonely child or like I didn't have a lot of friends or anything like that. But I would say for the most part, I would spend most of my time. Ooh, excuse me there. I would spend most of my time online seeing what all the noise and buzz was about, playing video games or whatever, whatnot. And then again, I grew up when social media came out. And that's been a really big, you know, thing that's kind of affected me, I would say, at least in terms of just seeing how other people interact with social media, how other people kind of live their lives or whatever, whatnot. And then, oh, this is a big one, comparison, envy, jealousy, and comparison. Because of having to have that kind of put in your face at such a young age, you start thinking about yourself like, oh my God, am I enough? Oh my God, am I pretty enough? Am I strong enough? Am I smart enough? I'm seeing this person go to this place. I'm seeing
Right.
this person do that thing. Oh, these two are in a couple, but I'm still single and lonely. And so you start thinking that you're not enough. And it's why at this point, because that was all in my early life, just recently, I actually took a step back. I've been taking a step back from social media. Um, well, that and I actually already knew what the effects of social media was. So I will say this: I've always hated social media. I've only ever had one. At any one time, I've only ever had one. It wasn't Snapchat, and if it was Instagram. If it wasn't Instagram, it was Snapchat. I do not have multiple social medias. Do not go Twitter. Never had a Twitter. Never had a Tumblr. I will never go to any of those websites because I have seen the amount of vitriol on each of those.
Now, this we strongly agree.
Yeah.
on, so this
Oh
is good.
my gosh. It is insane the things people say, not just about the world, but to each other.
Yeah.
Oh my God. And so
And people need constant validation, constant.
constant
Yeah,
dopamine.
like you're saying.
Oh my God.
Exactly.
The constant validation.
They have to
beca-
be famous.
Oh, this is
Love,
coming
love,
from
love.
someone who's young. Oh my God. But yeah, I only ever have the one now, and even then I barely get on it at this point. But if you still want to follow me, Malala7 on Instagram.
He had to put it in there. He had to put it in there.
That's MALALESS7.
Gotta spell it.
But yeah, no, on a serious note, I will definitely say technology has had a heavy, heavy impact on my life.
Awesome. Don, what do you think about artificial intelligence?
I think it can be very useful in the right hands. I'm already seeing a lot of positive things happening with it in medicine and other areas, and that's great. But if, like some other things, it's just used as a tool for making oligarchs rich and not caring about what happens to people, what it does to people, how many people it lays off, how much harm it can do to, you know, society as a whole. That's scary. So we really do need more regulation for it. We're going back to politics and government.
That's fine.
But we do need more regulation, is all I'll say. Some regulation. There really isn't much at all. These data centers need to be, curtailed in some way. That's getting a little crazy. And they're affecting a lot of things. They're driving electricity costs up, water usage, pollution. We don't need more of that. So there are a lot of issues, and I hope we face those and, really take care of them, make sure we're on the right track.
So, for you, what would you say you're most scared of when it comes to artificial intelligence?
I'm going to say people's reliance on it. And I'm going to say this as someone who also I do use AI every now and again. I can tell that it is very addicting if you just constantly have that in your back pocket to be like, oh, I have a question for something. Might as well pull out AI. Oh, I need something to do. Might as well pull out AI, whatever, not, whatnot. I'm like on that aspect. And then at the same time, the idea that a lot of these companies now, these corporations and these companies are definitely trying to kind of shift into, well, we kind of want to move away from human workers and start putting about robotics and stuff like that. It's just a little cheaper. And it's like, okay, cool, that's fine. The issue is, what then is everyone else in the world going to do? Because here was the other thing that, God, oh my God, this is a good question. Because I'm remembering all the things people were saying back then when, like, like 2010, early 2000s, when this was a conversation topic, how at first it was just supposed to be, oh, they're just gonna take the trucker jobs and the blue collar jobs and wherever whatnot, and everything else will be fine. And people get to be more creative or whatever whatnot. And then the truckers and the blue collar workers are like, what are you guys talking about? Like, why? I don't want them to take our jobs, number one. Number two, what makes you guys think they're not gonna come after you too? And people are like, oh, what are you guys talking about? They're not gonna come after us. Fast forward 20 years, now we have it to where not only are they trying to take the blue collar jobs, but they are trying to take artistic integrity, and they are trying to take creative freedom. And like, oh my God, movie companies. This just came to mind. Movie companies are thinking about making like AI movies and stuff like that. Like, there was a trailer recently. I don't even know if you heard it. But some director has recently started making a 1776 AI movie where the entire movie is full AI, and only the voice actors aren't AI. But that's insane to me. It's like, now we got into the point, like, we're that lazy where we don't want to take the time. Oh my God. It sucks so much because, again, I touched on it. Well, actually, I don't think I did, but a point I wanted to make throughout this entire thing was going back to the question of something your generation had over mine. It was community, and the fact that you guys actually took time with things. Things took time to develop. Things took time to go on a roll. And now we live in a world where everything happens like that. It's instant. It has to happen fast. I need my fast food. I need my DoorDash now. I need my instant, dopamine right now. Put it into my veins. Like, whatever it is, fast, 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 fast. And no one takes the time to be like, whoa, slow down. Come on, let's cultivate this a little bit. Let's put a little bit of work and effort. Because one of the great things about being a human being in general, not just on a generation thing, is the fact that we have this wonderful thing called time. And if we just take a moment to kind of appreciate it and just let things happen slowly, like, so many wonderful things come from it. And so I am very afraid of AI, but I do also understand its benefits, because you did also say that one of the good things is that we have medicines coming out, and those are wonderful, because I am in the middle personally. Personally, I'm in the middle with AI. There's a lot of great opportunities to be had, but there's also a lot of great evils that can come from it. And it's just one of those things. It's gonna depend on who's wielding it, I would say. It's kind of like the thing with, like, the gun or the sword. By itself, it can't really do anything until someone picks it up, and whatever they use it for is what they use it for. So that's how I really feel about it.
Okay. I was in New York for my daughter's birthday around October last year, and I think I saw a billboard that says hire AI. They don't get tired or something like that. I think, did you see that? It was going really
It's
viral
but no duh.
on social media. It really says
Crazy.
hire AI, something like that. So it's like people now use AI for personal assistant. You know, AI picks
Right.
your phone call, replies you do it.
I'm guilty of it. I don't use it as a personal assistant, but whenever I have like a thought that pops up into my head, I immediately go to AI, because I'm like, that's the crazy thing. I'm like, I don't even really talk to my friends first. I'll go to AI first to be like, just what do you think about this? And so it is something that I'm hopefully weaning off of. But again, it really is a great tool. And I wanna put that out there. AI is a great tool. Not like a partner, not a friend, not anything like that. It's just a great tool if it's used as a tool.
Yeah, there are people using it as a friend, as a date.
Yeah.
It's getting
Oh
pretty
my
crazy.
God.
Yeah. You
Have
see
you
some of
seen
that?
that? Yeah.
And the kids being talked into committing suicide by
Yeah, I've seen that too.
chatbots.
I'm like, it's crazy.
Yeah, it's totally crazy.
So you are absolutely correct, because and this is why when you brought it up, I'm like, it's not even a political thing. It literally is for me. I think it's just like a common sense thing. Straight up, it's like we need regulations. Like we're at some point. And I talked about this the other night with my friends. It's like we have to figure out a point where progressing too much is way too much. Like, at a point we have as a society, maybe even as a human race, we got to be like, okay, technology's got to this point, but let's kind of stop it right here and not go any further. Because if we go further, we can only dream or like nightmarishly think of what drastic consequences is going to happen from this. Plus, again, it's like if AI takes over all the jobs, what then are human beings left to do? At what is the point of a human being at that point? I would say is if AI just does everything for us. It's like we can't have AI be God and we can't have it be a slave. It cannot be both.
Right. Right. Well, what about Back to the Future where they had flying cars? Are we ever gonna get flying cars? Well, I guess hopefully we're gonna get flying cars because I want to be in a flying car. Okay, I think it's cool.
That would be
Okay, Don, this is for you.
Oh,
If you were 25 again,
uh-oh.
what advice would you give yourself, or what do you wish you knew then that you know now?
Well, a couple of things. I wish I would have saved and invested more because I mentioned earlier it'd be nice to do more traveling and be a little more comfortable than I am. And I wasn't anticipating life to get as expensive as it has become for myself and all of us. So that's the one thing. And the other thing, I lost my train of thought. I don't know. Maybe I'll think of it in a minute, but that's the main thing, really. I wish I could go back and think more about that
About
at that time.
about putting money in your savings account or investment or
Investments,
investment?
yeah, which I didn't really do enough of.
When did you realize you didn't do enough of that?
Retiring. I mean, I own my home. I'm comfortable, but it'd be nice to have more for traveling. Yeah, I love to travel.
So, what advice would you give a 25-year-old sitting beside you right now?
Put it away for the future. Think more about 40, 50 years from now, which I did not do because, you're just thinking about the day-to-day grind pretty much, which I certainly understand.
What do you say to that?
I would say, luckily, you don't have to worry about that too much for me.
Yeah.
But definitely for my generation, for sure. That is
Yeah.
great advice. But for me, because I'm always thinking about the future anyway, and like, what are the consequences of my actions? What do I need to prepare for? Because I don't know. Being young, it's so weird to say this. Maybe this is a little too much information I might be sharing, but like, I always think about, okay, one day I want to have kids. What type of life do I have to lead or live to ensure that the little daughter or son that I have will also have a comfortable life? And definitely money, having finances is going to be one of them. So, yeah.
Right.
Yeah, and I don't want to sound the way I sounded passively. I am extremely blessed, believe me. I'm very lucky to have what I have. I thank God every day for what I have, and I've been very lucky in life, and I know that, and I am comfortable and don't have any complaints. It's just, I'd like to be able to do more for myself and for my kids, but I'm doing quite a bit actually. But you can always have more,
Right.
right?
That's something that I've heard so many times from, baby boomers and the generation after baby boomers. They're always talking about if you put just $200 in the stock market for 40 years,
Right.
you're going to get
I know.
$1.2 million by the time you're 65. And it's like, okay. So I've been trying to take initiative. I've been trying to put some money to the side because one day you would be tired. You won't be able to work. You're going to retire. So definitely, I think that's a good advice.
Right.
And
Well, I made six figures for a lot of years. And because of that, my Social Security is high, and I did do some savings, but did not invest as much as I wish I would have, is the only thing. So I'm in good shape. I'm not in great shape, but I wish I had done that, basically.
nice. This was very informative. And guys, if you got any value from this conversation, please give us a like, subscribe, and also tell us what you think in the comment section. Okay, whether you're a baby boomer or Gen Z, let us know what you think in the comment section. So, for both of you guys, any last words, starting with baby boomer Don?
Well, I said it earlier, life is strange. But all I can say is if you trust in yourself and trust in life itself and be grateful. Do what you need to do, put one foot in front of the other, and stay true to yourself and true to everyone else. You'll be amazed at what happens in your life. I've been very blessed. I've got 2 beautiful grandchildren, a beautiful daughter and son-in-law, great home. I live in Buckhead, which is an affluent community. I have memberships to the museum and the botanical garden, keep busy all the time, have great friends. I have a lot of blessings in my life. And, if you just do what's in front of you and stay true to yourself and true to everyone else and be honest and work hard, life can be amazing. That's all.
Any last words for my Gen Z?
I will say that firstly, this has been an amazing conversation. I've loved every single, like legitimately, genuinely, I've loved every single second of it. This was phenomenal. And with that said, more people, if you're listening to this, please have conversations with the people around you and definitely get an insight into their lives, insight into yours, and make sure you're always having those conversations because it is just so wonderful to be able to kind of reach across the room and just see how we all live our lives. Because with that said, I'll just say that if you're out there listening to this, don't give up. Like life, it probably seems really, really bad, but if you make the choice and make that decision to be like, nah, you don't get to be the reason why I give up. If I'm going to give up, I'm going to give up on my own terms, and I'm going to go out and make sure I try before I give up. Then I think everything should be fine.
Right at. Stay positive.
Yep. Stay
Right on.
for sure. Stay positive. Oh, absolutely. But
And
yeah,
that we can agree on.
but yeah, just no. I would just say too, like even though we both come from different generations, I will say that I think on a eternal level, there's nothing that really differentiates us between each other. Absolutely. Because I'm like, time changes, opinions changes, so on and so forth, but the human experience is universal. So no matter what, it's
We
just,
all want stability, happiness,
yeah, that
and
was
prosperity.
yeah,
And
absolutely.
We all
love.
want it.
We want love.
We want
And love.
Oh yeah.
Oh, yeah.
What other universal truths?
Oh, yeah, love.
Generations. Oh, that music is fantastic. Food is
Oh,
good.
yeah.
Oh my gosh, yeah. Sleep. I could definitely go for some sleep right now. No, I'm just kidding.
Okay.
But yeah, it was lovely talking
Well,
to you.
thanks a lot. You too. It was great.
And that right there was the whole purpose of this conversation, where we could bring 2 different generations, not to argue, not to convince each generation, but to just understand how different paths can shape how we see the world. This is Madhouse Conversations, and my name is Genesis Lawanson, and I am your host. And don't forget, if you got any value from this conversation from our baby boomer and our Gen Z, very articulate Gen Z, give us a thumbs up, subscribe, and let us know what you think in the comment section. See you on the next one.